You just set it up against
Hey
it.
guys, it's Bryn from the Mom on the Rocks, and I am here in our Extreme Parenting private Facebook group with my husband Spence. And every once in a while, we like to do one of our expert interviews as a couple because I think it's really important to. Hey Bailey, my friend Bailey has cute hair now, guys. Um, and so we know what it's like to struggle as an extreme parenting couple. And we're aware of all of the statistics and the higher divorce rates and all the things. And so we make it a priority to try to jump on here. We used to do a weekly thing in the big group, but as you guys know, this group has kind of been my saving grace because the other group is getting very, very large, and which makes things a lot less controllable. And so, yeah, I know that Lauren, who I hope joins us at some point, she had posted earlier in this group, I think it was last week, she posted that just kind of checking in and asking everyone how are the relationships going. And it was some pretty interesting feedback. Kind of resoundingly, everyone said, oh, it's meh, or it's hard, or I'm struggling, or you know, kind of a whole bunch of different things that were all difficult. And so I talked to Spence about, hey, I think we need to meet again. And I told him to keep me accountable. So maybe you guys will speak up more than he will and tell me to shut up because he has to live with me. But I said I would like it for him to speak up more because I think the male perspective is really important for moms to hear. But also when you can get other dads, I think they tend to listen to each other better. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I feel like for sure my husband gets tired of hearing me. I don't know about you guys. Maybe they just love to hear you all the time. But, you know, you can say the same thing over and over again, and they're going to hear it differently from someone else, especially another man going through the same thing or something similar.
Really, I'm only here to see Doug, and I'm not here.
Do what? I know, right? I didn't have time to mohawk it.
We've got to fix it up for this weekend, so get a refresh.
So I would love it for one of you guys to talk about something that has been hard lately, because lots of people mentioned a lot of things. So I'm going to kind of throw it out there on you guys and let you kind of have the floor. I could mention lots of things, guys, because we all go through it. So.
Well, I'm a landlord, so, you know, we are landlords. So, I mean, there you go. The end. Over. But yeah, no, it's just, you know, like Lindsay posted today, just yesterday we were not at odds with each other. And I guess it could pertain to anything else, regardless of whether it's job or children. It started with us angry at other people, yelling at each other about other people. And then it turned into, by one, for what I said, some stupid off the wall, out of anger at someone else, said some totally random, you probably remember. I don't. And it just was like, oh, that's what we're doing. And I was like, no, that's not what we're doing. And then just like, you know, I'm just like, And so.
This was exacerbated by
children in the background.
Children's behavior, obviously.
You know, we're sitting here having a conversation, already heated. That's the fuel. Or that's the fire. And then the kids are like, and you're just like, we're talking. Yeah. We are literally, mouths are moving. Not even taking breaths between sentences. Mouths are literally moving and words are coming out. And you're still making noise. And so I'm just kind of like, so yeah. That just kind of turned into an argument with us.
Oh, that's a big one for you, huh? Like when the kids interrupt if we're trying to talk. That happens to us 100 times a day.
Oh, yeah. And not even for a conversation. Like you barely get a sentence, much less a whole thought or an answer if you're trying to figure something out. So, yeah, I don't do well with that either. Frustration with something else coming across the wrong way, even if it's not meant to or whatever. I'm pretty bad at that.
Yeah. one thing I want to make sure we talk about tonight, and I'm going to jump around here a little bit, but I wanted to kind of give Spence an opportunity, and we talked about this before, so I'm not putting him on the spot too much, but I think that—
I talked about it before. Do you mean you mentioned right before I walked in this room?
That's before, okay?
I don't see the problem.
Thank you.
I'm going to yell at her, and y'all all talk to us in the background like our kids.
So that we feel at home. So one thing that has been really pressing for me, and you guys know I'm just transparent to a fault, is my mental health has not been well lately. It has affected my physical health. And you guys know, if you followed the Mom on the Rocks page, I did a live at like 1:30 in the morning the other night, just crying, which is not what I typically do, but it was like at that point where I had been sick for like 4 days. I couldn't get out of bed. My body was just like, no, ma'am, you're done. I don't have COVID because that basically, it makes me a social pariah to even say like I coughed once now. I don't know. I did have a test. I'm COVID negative, but just so you don't think you're going to catch a disease through the screen. But so you know, that has really affected my mental health big time. And not being around people, and you know, the election, and I could name off 20 variables, but ultimately what it comes down to, I think, is our lives are already very, very hard. And it is very difficult for people that don't parent an extreme child and understand all of the variables that go along with that, to understand just truly how difficult it is, from variables, logistics, appointments, you know, discipline, strategy, stress, finances, all the things. And so that's been a conversation Spence and I have had a lot lately. We both lost our jobs to COVID early on. I went down to one client. I lost like 93% of my clients. And he lost his job right before all this stuff happened, or was laid off, and because the company was closing. And so that's a whole other thing. You know, if you don't have, we're both very career driven people, that's difficult. So I wanted to kind of let him speak to that, because during this season, things got, again, this is just full transparency moment, things got so bad that I finally said, like, I need you to talk to someone that's not me, because I am not the one.
Well, you wanted to do couples therapy, and I'm usually very not confrontational and just like, I'll do whatever you want.
Which has done well for marriage.
Surprisingly, I thought about that and was like, I don't know that I can just jump right into that and actually respond either appropriately or friendly, or not feel like I was responding and then getting immediately told why that was like not okay. So I agreed to try it on my own for a while first, which seemed odd. Like, I guess if you've never seen a therapist, I think a lot of people would just assume like, well, you're going to therapist, you got some real left up stuff going on in there, I guess, which, I mean, maybe I do, but like, I don't think that's always the case. Like, after seeing somebody for a while, I feel very differently about that. Like, I talk most of the time about just small everyday things, as opposed to like what was wrong with me and my dad when I was a kid or something. I think most people think you go to a therapist and it's like major things from your childhood is always the problem. And sometimes it's not. Like, I've found so many things just in normal conversation with this person that I'm like, okay, Briggs probably does that because of the way that I do things. Or even stuff that Sparrow does, and she's not near as extreme as he is. So it's been very helpful to find a lot of things that I needed to work on for myself to benefit everyone else. So it's been quite interesting.
Yeah, and I would say, to add to that, during this time, like, I don't know, probably 2 months ago now, my head's still a little foggy. I'm kind of just coming out of the sickness thing.
That's why she doesn't remember dates, because of the sickness.
No, that was way before that.
She's old, so
Is you guys? It's a miracle we've been married this long. It truly is.
That you don't remember?
Older than she is.
It was.
Good.
We went through. We've been together a long time. 15 years.
Oh,
16 years.
Is this the big fight? The 3-week fight? Okay.
So,
that was like 4 months ago.
Okay, whatever.
Maybe 5.
Here's my point. My point is, we don't argue a whole lot. We have learned to argue well. I should say. Let me rephrase that. So we've learned to choose our battles well, and we've learned to let things kind of slide. Not things that need to be discussed, but if it's really not something that is necessary, we've learned. Okay, it's been a long time coming. However, this particular thing arose. Man, it got all over me. It hurt me really badly. And so we spent a few weeks that, it was hard. It was very, very hard. And we saw the therapist together during that time, and that was really beneficial, because she has seen us separately and over telehealth. So she kind of knows what's going on with him and has the benefit of knowing what's going on with me and kind of seeing our hearts in that.
And had been for a couple months before that. So, so one week she was like, "Oh, you guys are both growing on your own so well, and I'm seeing that help your relationship so great." And then the next week we both showed up like everybody's about to die.
Yeah, it was pretty intense for a few weeks, you guys. But I say that to kind of open it up and ask, how are we doing? Because, and I know that's a loaded question in this group especially, but like, I feel like half of the time when I think about like the state of our country, I'm like, is this the Twilight Zone? Like, what is even happening? And so how are we doing? Because being like, I scheduled out the rest of November yesterday, and I scheduled this meme. I don't know when. You guys will see it when it comes up. I don't ever remember that stuff. But that says, I'm just really kind of sick of binge watching my kids. And that's exactly how I feel. I feel like, please, anyone take them. Like some days, and he knows this, like some days I'm like, everybody's got to go. My husband, my dog, my kids, hamster, all of it. Like, out of here. I need silence. No one talk to me. Don't ask me for gummies. Don't ask me to open your cup. Don't ask me for anything, because I'm going to lose it. And so I'm curious how you guys are, how is this affecting you? How are you handling it? Because it ain't sunshine and rainbows up in here.
Go figure. The other day when you had posted something, and I think I commented on it like it wasn't a bad day. It was a good day. Like, hey, my extra kid's being kind of chill.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then just arguments ever since. Hey, go brush your teeth. I don't want to go brush my teeth. And then the other kid, hey, please go do this thing. Like, very argumentative back. So, of course, that's stressful. And then job stress. And then we have travel coming up. So, of course, just stress everybody. So, we're handling. And like you said, we don't fight super often. Usually we could just discuss the things that are important and go on. Again, yesterday was one of those fights.
Yeah.
I'm tense. He's tense. We're tired of being around kids. Not with each other, but like job stuff.
The conversation between us about the situation with the tenants wasn't bad. It got bad when I said some things in reference to my true feelings about the tenant. Mm-hmm. The kids were in the room, and they're like, she's like, they're watching, they're listening, and I'm like, duh. And then she went into like, went from coworker to mom.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, no. And then I'm like, okay, so now you're fussing at me? Like, what happened? This was me and you versus tenant, and now it's the world versus me?
Now it's
like, what happened here? Now
it's, hey, I need to step up and be like, as frustrated as I am with our job, our kids see our example. And that turned into a whole, he wasn't fighting about that. He was just frustrated too. And
well, I mean, I literally was, I was at the bottom of the steps, and I'm like, look, I and I think we all in certain moments feel like we're handling it pretty well. Like, I did not punch a hole in the wall. I did not take anything off the wall and sling it or like bust. I didn't break anything. I merely
Like
said
you would
some
have
like
20 years ago.
like I wanted. No, like I was literally pacing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like not at Lindsay, not at the kids, at the situation. And there was no thought process, hey, the kids are watching, I shouldn't do that or any of this. And it was just like, I felt that, hey, yeah, I said some words, I called the tenant a name, but in my mind, I passed with flying colors because I didn't do. And so, but in the end, I mean, it wasn't right. I have been able to use that moment with Rachel when she was getting angry. And, you know, she's like, she's mad and she's stomping. I'm like, hey, remember the other day, Dad got mad, right? Dad got mad. Yeah. It's okay to be mad, right? Yeah. But be angry, do not sin, right? Yeah. Okay. Did I hit anything? Did I punch anybody? Did I hit you? No, we didn't hit each other. So it's not right for you to hit your sister when you're angry. Like, it's okay to be mad and it's okay to be angry. It's an emotion, but the reaction to that emotion is the problem.
I would, let me ask you this, and this is the counselor in me pushing back and not saying that you're wrong, but from what we experience in our house, and you probably know where I'm going with this, is like,
it's a surprise for everybody.
We found ourselves very early on in an effort to not like lash out, scream, call a name, whatever, doing things like for Spence, he'll make a fist and like not punch a table or something, but like put his fist down on it, like not hit him, but just like set him down and be like, ugh, like, and literally that physical release so that he's not like, why are you being like that? That's what he wants. And so I feel like, sorry, I know Ariel's in the room. But so anyway, we then saw our kids very, very young doing those similar things. And so I wonder kind of, what do you guys think? Do you see that? Do you feel like, well, it's better than them punching a hole in the wall? Or do you feel like, man, I don't know. Where do you draw the line?
The funny thing was, Rachel then brought him a stretchy band.
She did. She brought me a stretchy band.
That's a fucking win.
And I'm like,
oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, yeah, that's good. You should use it too. And you know, it's just. But as far as the marriage goes, it's one of those. No matter what your kid does throughout the day, when you put them to bed, you love them, and you sit there and go. You may have been the one that shared it. It said, I love you with everything in my being or the world or whatever, but I'm not sad when it's bedtime.
Oh, sister. Yes.
And so
my friend Amy Weatherly, who has like 500,000 followers. So I appreciate using me with her.
Right. So, and it's one of those things, no matter what your kid does, you love them. And so at the end of the day, you kind of have to be that way with your spouse. No matter what he said, what she said, what feeling came up, what feeling got away, what word got said, at the end of the day, we go to bed. I mean, what I posted today, 3,400 and some nights, and we've never, since May 9th, 2009, we've never spent a night apart. We might go to bed angry, but we don't go to sleep angry. Sometimes it's like we hold hands right before we go to sleep. Sometimes we're barely touching pinky toes, but it's just a simple gesture of you didn't like love me well today, but this is just us. You know, you tuck your kids in. You may want to just like wring their neck all day long.
Most days, yeah.
Like you, right. But you tuck them in. And so I think as couples, we got to make sure that regardless of how we've treated each other, be apologetic, and just
TLDR, this thing is frustrating, but we're working on them. And
what?
life is
him.
We are working on them.
Them. I thought she said working on him.
I said TLDR. Because I think the start question.
No, she said, "How you doing?" And I'm just.
Well, I think that it's different for everyone.
Right. For sure.
I'm curious. There's some moms on here right now. I know Lindsay, you're one too. Bailey, I know. Audrey, I know. Melissa, I know. I think April and Jen. I can't remember if you homeschool or not.
She's
But
young yet, but not yet.
So I know there are a lot of moms here that stay home with their kids or are the primary caregivers, and their partners are gone most of the day or travel for work or work late nights or are gone overseas. And so I'm curious, how do you guys handle that? And I'd like to hear it from this perspective. So when we lived in Piney, you guys know Spence and I each spent separately about 1.5 years working outside the house so that our kids could see that dynamic shift at home. And I will tell you, he handled it way better than I did. I did not do well being home with my kids because, and I wouldn't do well now if he wasn't here to balance it out, because I resented him being home, and 30 seconds in the door, sometimes 10, he would immediately be yelling at Briggs. And I'm like, you have not earned the right. Like, you just showed up. I'm going to need you to pump the brakes on that attitude. And like, that's not going to work out. Like, I've been dealing with this for 9 hours. Welcome to the party. And here you go. Like, give him the baton. And so I'm curious.
Just for the record, you did that most days for the first 1.5 years.
Oh yeah.
That I stayed home.
100%. But I'm curious, how do you guys handle that? Like, how does that look in your home? Because I know you guys, I see you on social media. I talk to you. It cannot be easy. How is that? What does that look like?
I don't have that option because he's literally halfway across the world, so he doesn't come home. So he has like no clue. And it bugs me because the first thing she does in the morning, say hi, daddy, because she wants to call daddy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like literally there's no escape. He doesn't, he's just now coming to the point where he understands what I deal with all the time. He's just now getting to, oh, this is what she's like when she's having a bad day. Mm-hmm. Instead of me always just saying, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And I've had to, like when he was home on leave in February, he had to leave the house because he was getting so frustrated with her. Mm-hmm. And I had to tell him, this is what I do every single day. I said, I don't get a vacation. I don't get a day off. I don't get an hour to myself. I can't even pee by myself. Yeah. So I said, yes, you're gone. You have your own room. You get a day off. Mm-hmm. You can shut the door and not have her up your butt. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's the hard part for me is literally no break, no help, nothing. Yeah. And that's why it's like, and then with right now, the stress of buying a house 12 hours away, literally never having step foot in this house. But the good thing is my in-laws are 20 minutes away and I can say, here, I'm done for the day. Can't do it no more.
Yeah.
So
what about the rest of you guys?
Rough. It has its days where I'm just like, okay, today I had to go for a walk outside because she was just, mom was going to lose her shit. Mm-hmm. And you know, in a camper, there's no escape.
Oh, sister, I know. So, 300 square feet for 4 people.
Yeah, I went for I couldn't do 4. It's hard enough with her and 2 dogs.
What about the rest of you mamas? Talk to me. What's it look like?
I mean, I'd say the same thing. You know, my husband's not here in the morning when the kids wake up. So it's the same thing. Get up, get everything ready, get to school. And then it's, you know, whether or not we're going to have a good day or a bad day. Now, luckily, I guess we have, like my daughter has 10 hours a week of a TSS and my son technically has 20, but they're not filling them all for AVA. So, you know, I'm managing other people, which kind of becomes a pain as well. But at the same time, they're definitely an added relief. I still have to be there for everything, but it's another person who can help manage any of the issues that come during the day. But yeah, I'd say by the end of the day, I am just done. And my husband walks in the door and I feel like he often expects there to be something left and not for me to be annoyed with him the minute he walks in the door, because he'll obviously say that later in the evening. But I'm like, I have dealt with everything today. I just need to like sit down. I just need a break. I don't have any time or energy or even like, I don't know, niceness left for like him some days. So yeah, I definitely say that's rough, homeschooling and being home all the time.
I appreciate you saying that about not feeling like you don't have anything left. Because I think that we can all, regardless of whether you're single, married, have somebody there, have help, don't have help. If you raise an extreme child, I think everybody can understand what it feels like to feel just totally exasperated, like you've got nothing left. I want to let you guys know that Zoom just gave me my 10-minute warning. So if we get to the end of this 10 minutes and we need more time, I will post a new link in that original thread. So just jump on and join that, and we'll keep talking, because I think this is a really important thing to talk about. Tanika, am I saying that right?
Yeah, it's Ty. I just joined the group like a week ago.
Yes. Okay. Well, I recognize Ty. I didn't recognize your whole name. And I have a weird name, like a hard to pronounce name. And so I'm like used to getting called crazy stuff, and I want to get your name right.
Mm-hmm.
So not to put you on blast here, but can you tell us a little bit about like where you're coming from? Because I'd love to kind of learn a little bit more.
Yeah, so I'm a single mom, but my mom moved with me to help me with my son when I moved to New York for work. And my sister was already living in the city, so we all moved in together. But my mom deals with depression, and we've had like a really bad relationship for like 20 plus years. So it's just like nothing but tension, and like we're from the South, so like, hold on one second, bud, sorry.
No, you're good.
So we have just like, we have completely different parenting styles. And so we clash a lot there. But even with her, and it's hard to have someone in the house who's supposed to be there helping you. But then you feel alone, like you have no help. It's almost like, it's like being waved in your face, like, hello, like I'm drowning, but.
Can I ask some of you other women, even if your spouse is home, do we sometimes feel that way?
Yes.
I know I do.
Hey, the guys might feel like that sometimes too.
Okay, speak up, Doug, or forever hold your penis, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know what
I'm just saying.
I'm talking about.
I said, are there times where even though you're married, that you feel like even if your spouse is there, that you don't have the support you need because stuff's just going all to crap? But I said women, and Spence was like, what if the guys feel like that?
Okay, so it kind of goes back to love languages and stuff. I think men are more physical driven, visual and physical driven. We can come in and you could be standing there with messy hair, no makeup, and you're like, I'm the ugliest, and we're like, how you doing, what's up? And they're like, really? And it's like, yeah.
Which is good, because that's literally what I look like every day.
Well, I mean, I think God designed us that way, because if we, I wouldn't say, is this answering the question? I don't know if this is
well, I think maybe you guys need to go get a room for a few minutes is what I'm hearing.
It's a way.
Basically, do you get overwhelmed, feel like I don't support you enough?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, are there times, I mean, if we're
not in parenting.
So it's
okay.
Here's the actual answer. I'll answer for him because I know where he's trying to go with this.
Yes.
Where you were talking about being overwhelmed and not having anything left. So he gets his support and he gets his feel good and like I'm there for him and his support by his love language being filled, which is usually physical needs. Perfectly fine with that. We're married. Mm-hmm. We handle each other's love language. Yes. So he's saying as long as
would be great, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically what he was starting to say, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is he feels supported and loved and not overwhelmed as a parent at home and not by himself, because I usually do meet those needs, but he starts to feel unsupported and alone when I get overwhelmed thinking that, hey, I'm so drained, I have nothing else left to give. Because we've had that conversation this week where he was like, I feel like I've come home and you just got nothing left because the baby needs me, the kids need me, the schooling needs me. And I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to touch anyone else today. I don't want to give any more of myself. I'm done. Leave me alone. Let me sit here and blankly stare at my phone and like memes. Yes. And then he'll be like, look, I feel unloved right now. So I think that's where you were going with that.
Yeah. Audrey, does that resonate with you? Like, and I don't know your all's husbands. I know some of your all's husbands, but we talk openly that our pretty much just about everything, with the exception of math and building things, we're pretty much gender opposites. And so like I'm physical touch, he is not. And so it's kind of funny that way. But I do know a lot of men are that way. So I wonder if we're all touched out as moms. Is that something you guys experience?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Between 4 kids, we homeschool. Bobby works from home, but he works upstairs in our bedroom. So there's constant, we try to separate that out so they know, and it's hard for them because daddy's just upstairs. So, but they never go to him because as moms, who's their favorite person when they need something, because it's impossible for dads to feed them, right? So, or so they think. So they leave the room that he's in to come find me, even if I'm sitting on the toilet, and they stick things under the door. It's just that constant thing. And by the end of the day, I'm like, don't touch me, don't talk to me. I need to be like, even if I'm sitting in the car, I just need to be just completely blacked out to the world for like 30 minutes.
Well, I think that goes back to talking about our mental health too. And you said something that really resonated with me when you said that, oh shoot, you guys, I seriously can't even think. I need to write things down. Right now, my brain is really recuperating from the sickness. You said, I'll think of it, hang on. This is what happens. I think I have dementia. Oh, I know. You said having someone in the house that's supposed to help, but your parenting styles are so different. So even though she's your mom and not your spouse, like I think that all of us can hear that, right? So I don't care that I'm married to him and I sleep next to him. At the end of the day, our parenting styles are wildly different. And you also mentioned not having a good relationship with your mom for a very long time. And I know and I'm not going to out anybody in here, but I know there are people in this group that can resoundingly say heck yes to that. And that causes a lot of kind of turmoil. Like Spence mentioned, therapy isn't, and earlier when he was talking about seeing a therapist just to work on his parenting skills and thus our relationship, it's not always this deep-seated thing that is from our past or this trauma we survived. Sometimes it is. But a lot of times the way we were parented affects how we parent. And that might be, we repeat those things, whether we hate them or not. And it might be that we do the total opposite. And so that can cause a lot of tension. For us, it definitely does. Spence, and maybe you can talk more about this, but his parents are very passive in the way that they parent. And he's also very much, he was not planned, so he's a lot younger than his siblings. And so he was able to kind of just live his life, like, hey, don't die, you know. And so he oftentimes talks about, like, I wish I had more structure, and maybe if I had more structure, I wouldn't have X, Y, or Z. So he goes like hard in the paint against our kids, where it's like, you really could like loosen it up a little bit, you know, like it's not that serious. They just spilled something, like they're 4, it's gonna happen. And I grew up in a very different situation.
You spilled it 80 times in a row.
That is true. I don't know what happens to their kids. It's like they don't have hands. Okay, it's telling me less than a minute. So I'm going to stop recording and I'm going to go start a new thing and drop. If you can join, I would love, love, love to keep talking. If you can't, understand. But I'm going to do that right now so we don't get cut off. Okay.